Today we go down in Mark's basement. We look at his modified wood stove, and it's kind of an ongoing process for Mark as he's puzzling out the best way to use wood as the primary source of heat in his house over winter. Hey YouTube, MinnesotaEric here. And so we're in Mark's basement and we're looking at his wood stove. Mark's wood stove does not have a blower motor on its own, and so what Mark has rigged up here is a homemade hood. And that homemade hood has fans in the ductwork. So this is Mark's passive wood stove. You throw wood in and there's not a fan on it, but all right, get my hand out of there so I can focus. And so it just generates heat out of the top. Well, Mark has made this hood so that he can then duct, if you can think of it, that hood's upside down, flops on the top, and then he runs it through a series of ducts which have fans on them. And I'll let this is kind of homeboy HVAC, and it is a process, but we're here in the north central Minnesota, and while we do have professional HVAC stuff going on, this is what this house started out with. So Mark has been attempting to perfect this system as he goes along, and adding a filter to the hood is just another step that Mark is taking.
Okay, so the problem is initially I have these cheaper fans you can buy at your local stores. They don't have near as good blowing, the airflow. So I went for this one right here. This one's like just about 3 times more airflow than these little ones here. It works really good. I think it's blowing a little too hard, so I did buy a speed control for this too. Just to slow it down, because I think it's pulling the air from the other vents and the other fans aren't blowing good enough. So what we're trying to do is by doing this, it helps blow in the house and gets a little better. And then also what we're trying to do is I have filters up in my my vents. And instead of having it there, I want to put this in here so it can be removed. It's a washable filter. And we're going to try to fab this in here so I can pull this in and out.
And this filter can take heat, so...
Yeah, it's a metal filter, so it should handle the heat.
And so what Mark's got to do, we're going to see this, a little bit of this, is he's got to weld in a bracket. We're down in Mark's basement here. And he's got to weld in a bracket so that it can support this filter. And this whole hood is something Mark's making, or has already made. And so he's in the middle of making a wood stove into a forced air blower in his household.
So that's the top. So what I'm going to do is I took 2 marks right there. I'm going to drill a hole so I know where it's at on the outside. Measure the thickness of the filter, maybe go a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I'll measure that down and make a square, and we'll be able to slide this filter in and out. That's the goal. So
at the end of the project, we're going to be impressed by Mark's homeboy HVAC skills.
Let's do it. There we go. I drilled my 2 first holes. And I measured down 1 inch. I should make so the filter can go in. I'm basically going to notch a side here so I can slide the filter in and out.
For a master what?
Cutter.
Oh, master cutter?
Oh yeah, I've ran a couple grinders with me.
Yeah. The spare time, Mark's an ironworker.
Earplugs, safety glasses.
No, right. I don't have any of those. The cameraman wants safety glasses too. I just got pelted.
Did you? Yeah, well, you should be pretty careful with it.
I just closed my eyes. It's like welding without putting the jacket on, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, little hot sparks. Is that something you could grab with the pliers? Wiggle 40 times?
Good enough. Let's try and break it.
Really, Mark's making a drum. I just want to be on the drum. Why don't you cut it from this side?
Why?
Well, that way you don't have a hole on the outside. See, that's what happens when friends show up. They have a pin. Go or whatever this paint is you got on here leaves a lovely funk, doesn't it?
It is special paint.
Special paint?
Yeah, for stoves.
Like, why don't you get a pliers?
Because that requires...
It's killing me. Give me a pliers. I want to wiggle that thing off.
It's already out.
You already got it. There.
There we go.
Mark's bag of batteries.
So what we got here is...
Ta-da!
A little tight.
That's all right. As long as you can get it in and out.
You know, there's a right way to cut and a wrong way to cut also. I had my supervisor that now what I hired as a supervisor. I told him, I said, there's right way and wrong way to cut. And he didn't believe me because he thought he was a superstar. So I said, I tell you what, I'll challenge you. You take a cutting wheel and see how much of this channel iron you can cut with one cutting wheel. And he cut like 1.5 channel irons. So I said, okay, and I took it, I cut 2.5 channel irons with my cutting wheel. And the reason is what you want to make sure is that when you're cutting, you want to make sure you don't vibrate the blade. You want to make sure that it's got the smoothest cutting wheel. So you should be approximately, if this is your distance, you should be approximately a quarter of the way down. So somewhere in there, as you're cutting, so the smoothest as you cut, it has less vibration, less the blade blows apart, and smoother cutter. Yeah.
So what you just told me, if I understand, is you want to, if you're like cutting sheet metal, you want to make sure that your blade's a 1/4 inch past the material you're cutting.
Correct. So if this is center of my thing, you want to say this is let's say this is 12. You want to be at right here. So you want to be in that ballpark. And as you're cutting, you should be able to move back and forth and find out. You don't put hardly any pressure on your steel, and you want to find out in between this area where the smoothest it runs, and you still get sparks where it things. And that's another thing. Make sure your sparks always comes to you, not away. Because if it goes away and your blade catches, that means the grinder's coming to you. If the sparks are blowing at you and the blade catches, the grinder will go away from you, and obviously that's a lot safer. Safety counts, man. Just so you know about cutting wheels, I've tested multiple cutting wheels. I've had jobs where we use over 500 cutting wheels on one job. So I've tested multiple ones per price, per how they hold up and stuff. The DeWalt Extreme stainless steel ones are actually really good. They're thin, and they also don't spray as much. And what it is, if you buy the cheaper ones, you can buy the cheaper ones, say for like $1.75, $2.80, and these are like $1 more, a little more maybe, depends where you buy them at. And the cheaper ones spray. I mean, I've seen where there's a cloud of a spray, and by the end of the day, your face is black if you're cutting and stuff. And obviously, even with a mask on, your mask is full of dirt, and if you don't have it on, it just goes in your lungs. It's better to use these because they don't spray, so it's healthier for you. And not only that, they cut like 2 or 3 times more than a regular blade. So it pays to test blades and find out. There's another blade that has another company has that has soap on the cutting wheel. I found them also to be good too. It's like a soap, and they use it like a lubricant. And basically, you want the blade to be able to cut smooth and everything, and not blow apart and to hold together. Hence, it will not wear down as fast. So yeah, very good idea to research your blades if you cut with cutting wheels.
So, DeWalt Stainless Steel Extreme.
DeWalt Extreme stainless steel cutting wheels.
Those are the best cutting wheels.
They're one of the best I've had. There's some other brands out there, but for your every generic, when you're going to go to hardware stores and stuff like that, they're the easiest ones to find. And if you're going to go that way, I recommend it. It's cheaper than buying the cheap ones because it lasts 3 times as long. And it doesn't spray in your face and you eat dust.
10-4. Mark's rigging up his link pull-in 140. So Mark's going to MIG in, flux core MIG in these 2 struts to hold that filter.
Also have to run some tabs. Yeah, so it could have been a little lower.
Yeah.
That one there.
Yeah, you cut the hole.
That's fine.
Holes are like diamonds. They're there forever.
Versus gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. It sparks way more. All right.
All right.
This is what
Let's see the victory lap. How does that thing fit? No, it's not wide enough. That's one hell of a tack.
Yeah, this thing ain't fucking running right. Trust me, this ain't running right. Yeah, so you see how it's cut now? It's going to
Yeah.
this turn on.
Say one thing, when you weld with gas, you get pretty welds.
Yeah, well, you get pretty welds with this too. You know, if you run 30 amp, it welds better. Or
Yeah.
it's, obviously, you got
Well, this is
power-
relatively thin stuff here, so.
power issue going on.
Well, it sounds like maybe you don't have enough power.
No, exactly. That's why
You can't turn this up without popping the fuse?
No, well, no, it's not that. It's already cranked up. I just don't have the power.
Oh, you don't. The welder doesn't have the juice.
I don't have the juice.
Ah.
So I think that's good. You get a little crusty, I guess.
Yeah.
Basically, it's going to go like that. And like
No one
that.
never get that thing out if you push it all the way in.
No, I'm just going to leave it right now.
I mean,
But you can
put a
see-
fishtail on it
Okay,
and a filter.
so I can't go anywhere, right?
Yeah, no, it's
So
totally covering.
It's locked in.
Yep.
We're good with that.
Yeah.
And there's the cover I made. Over it. Basically, just take that out and take that off and remove the filter. And it's washable, so I think it's gonna work good. We'll find out. And I fired it up now, giving it a test. It's all back together. I'm gonna see what the air is coming out of the other vent. Do a little test to see if I need to slow that one down. I have a feeling it's taking it out of the other vents. So, there we go.
Here I am in Mark's secret lab, where the brain trust of Mark happens. Not really. He's got a shop. That's where the brain trust happens. That's where the real Calientia stuff happens. Not really there either.